taking all of us together to the role of peace, development and welfare of Nepali people. So thank you once again. On the question of Davos, the meetings which our Prime Minister attended and spoke, our Foreign Minister has already mentioned some of them, that we were able to showcase our development roadmap. And also the one which was curious of his government, because we are the government with hammer and sickle. So although we are elected democratically, people would be curious to know what kind of policies this government has. And we were able to show that we are a state government with full democratic practices. We do take along with the state, the players of the state like the private sector, the community and the cooperative sectors, and we do collectively the development work of the country in such a complementary way that we don't find ourselves to be outplaced to any other. So it's a kind of complementary and kind of collaborative approach we are following. I think we were able to give the message to the world that it is a kind of country where we have any kind of democratic deficit. That was the first point. The second point was how we were able to implement the federation, which Nepal is of course the youngest federal state, so we were there to also showcase how fast we were able to translate federalism into action. And it is in less than 1 year's time that we have been able to fix some of the problems associated with federalism, particularly on sharing resources and opportunities and responsibility. That's the second. The third one, I think, is having our informal dialogue and also formal meetings with several investors to solicit their investment and their interest towards Nepal. On a personal note, I would like also to mention that some of the sessions were really interesting, and that caught my attention. In particular, about measuring progress, activity and welfare of the country. I can see a lot of debate going in this country. People talking about some of the numbers and talking that the economy is going down. The discussion that took place in Davos was more than GDP. It was beyond GDP. How to measure welfare, how to measure progress of a country. Here, GDP is doing very well, but it's not enough. That must translate into the proper welfare of the people. And how can we do that? So that session I found very interesting, and we have really to have our further discourse on measuring our progress and welfare through some other upscaled, or I would say even higher level of indicators. That was not a very good news to all of us. But still the global economy was growing and is growing. So we wanted to know what are the causes behind this declining trade, investment, and also the global economy keeping up. And my argument there was that maybe productivity of capital has gone up, efficiency might have gone up. So why do you need more investment if you are increasing the productivity of capital? So I think some of the interventions we could make there also had a lot of attention of the world that we should be looking beyond capital accumulation for growth. We must be looking into the productivity of all the inputs, including capital and labor input in the process. I think this debate is, it keeps on going, but that was an interesting event. Political stability and new federal structure, which is working in the most democratic way to govern the investment structure and investors of the country. I would like to emphasize on several factors, but maybe due to time constraint, I would like to speak 4 or 5 of them. First, Nepal is an emerging country, emerging market, also close to the neighboring big markets that our Foreign Minister has already mentioned. Only an emerging market has the greenfield investment opportunities. In a matured market, you don't get any such kind of greenfield investment opportunities. It could be a kind of brownfield or something others. So, first of all, right from startup to increasing capacity to doing big business, we have the virgin land. So this is the best thing we can offer. But having said that the investment opportunities are there, we have also to create enabling environment. The cost of doing business has to be reduced and the ease of doing business has to be further facilitated. What the investors need, the first thing they want their investment to get attractive return in a safe investment environment. I think if you look at the history of foreign investment in Nepal, most of them, I agree, and I think many of the investors should also agree that they are making good money out of the investment, and they are giving justice to the investors, the shareholders, after paying good tax also to the country and creating jobs and contributing to the exchequer through revenue. So this is already an evident case that if you invest in Nepal, you get good return on your money. And second, while investing your money, your property will be protected. There will be no nationalization, expropriation, or any kind of risk to the property that you can invest. Repatriation is not a problem. Law itself has ensured that the principal, interest, dividend, whatever workers' salaries could be repatriated in a transparent and the most easiest way. And third, we do have a very, I would say, properly managed labor market, whereby our labor law now ensures that there should be no dispute in the industrial relations as the new labor law has been formulated with the tripartite agreement between the employer, employee, and the government. And as you see, there have been no strikes in the last couple of years. That itself manifests that labor market flexibility is there. Those who are laid off, their social security provision is mentioned there, and I think that's one of the areas where we can say that we have a strong labor market condition. Not only that, our minimum wages we have settled down, and there should be no debate on the kind of wages, but still wages are low in Nepal. We don't want low wages to be the comparative advantage, but still I would say even after minimum wages, they are comparable in South Asia, or maybe even better. And then some other provisions in the labor market also enable us to create better industrial environment. The infrastructure, which is key to investors. 2 years before, we were talking about power shortage, load shedding and all that. This year, we don't talk much about the power shortage. There are some erratic supplies of power at some point of the day because of the technical error. Otherwise, we can assure quality power supply 24 hours a day. So that's something which we can assure for power-intensive industries. For infrastructure, if you are taking power itself and you need a approach road, if you are doing power itself, generating power, and you need a transmission line, and if you need land or forest for the purpose of doing this infrastructure, through the investment board's decision, we have made these things very, very simple. So this is enabling environment. The fourth is the forward-looking legal environment. Foreign Investment and Technology Transfer Act is key to foreign investors, and that has been passed by the cabinet and would be taken to parliament this week. The Intellectual Property Act is drafted, and it will also be taken to the parliament after cabinet approving it. Industrial Enterprise Act is also ready, and the amended Enterprise Act, which also is consistent with the federal setup. The federal, provincial, and local governments being able to manage and regulate industries is clearly defined in the Act. And then there are several other acts that includes investment and PPP-related Act and Public Procurement Act. I could name many of them, but I should not forget the Company Act, which facilitates everything. So legal and regulatory framework, including the bylaws relating to hedging mechanism and one window for the operation of industries. I think they are some of the ones that I must mention. Thank you. By 2020, we would be saying, Davos, that we would be no more being a landlocked country, least developed country. Landlocked we remain, but least developed we don't have to. We'll be land-linked rather than landlocked. That's what our Prime Minister said in Davos. Why I say so? We would be one of the countries growing very fast, even in the next 2 years' time. As the fastest growing economy, our disposable income would at least cross $1,500. We would be having fixed up all the problems associated with investment, and we can say, look, how much infrastructure additionally we have created into the system. What kind of legal, regulatory, and operational hurdles, bottlenecks we have already cleared. How much of foreign investment we have already brought into the country, along with also promoting our domestic investment. and how many jobs we have created in the last 2-3 years' time. And that would be almost the midterm review of the government's tenure also. So by that time, we have also to deliver many of the things. We don't have any excuse then that we don't have the infrastructure, we don't have the legal background, we don't have the federal setup being fixed up yet. Then we have to do many of the things before that, and we'll be able to tell the world that we can do development, we can deliver development in a peaceful and more justified manner, and our growth would be job intensive. People would get job along with fair wages, factors of production, all including entrepreneurs would get their fair share of the risk they have taken. So Nepal would be one of the destinations best suited for not only investors but also for the people visiting Davos to come to Nepal. Not that Davos is the only place to visit in the world. Nepal is not less important or attractive to visit the country. That message we have to give in 2020.